Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Rose, your PMDD relationship expert. I have personally been suffering with PMDD for over 15 years and spent so much time desperately trying to navigate my intimate relationships, going from breakup to breakup, thinking that everyone else was the problem. I am now married to an amazing PMDD partner thanks to the PMDD-specific relationship tools that I have developed over the years, and now I am here to share them with you. Because I know that there is not much research available to PMDD partners, I am now dedicating my doctorate practice specifically for PMDD relationships. I am a traumatology doctoral candidate, and each week I will be providing PMDD partners with my signature PMDD trauma transformational tools on how to effectively navigate an intimate relationship while having PMDD, so that you can avoid the patterns of breaking up with your partner every single month, and you can finally have the supportive relationship that we all desire and deserve. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Now let's get into your weekly dose of PMDD relationship tools. We got this. Today is the beginning of our communication series. I am going to be talking to you all about arguing with your partner, fighting with your partner, doing all of these things that are ruining your PMDD relationship. And this is something that all of my private PMDD clients all go through. So I figured I might as well do a series on this. There's multiple ways that we can address this, but I first wanted to dive straight into how to avoid losing control in your PMDD relationship when you're having those tough conversations or even normal conversations, because I know we all know that when we're in PMDD, we can go from being completely calm and then our partner say a certain thing or do a certain thing, and then all of a sudden we feel this PMDD rage, and then we've gone off and said things and done things that we regret later on that causes so much damage to our PMDD relationship. And a lot of times we're not going into it expecting to react harshly to our partner, expecting to say those hurtful things, but they just come out. And by the time they come out, when you're in PMDD, it just keeps going and going and going. It's almost like you're holding on to this idea and you just really want your partner to understand because it feels so real in the moment. So a lot of my private clients have come to me for my 2-month private PMDD coaching, and a lot of the things that they're struggling with are their communication styles. And this is something that earlier in my journey, I really, really struggled with, because we all know when we have those intrusive thoughts, what we feel like is going on in the moment, what we think is going on in the moment doesn't necessarily reflect what's really going on in the moment. And for your partner who's on the outside, who's looking at things very practically and just saying, you know, this is what you said. And sometimes we get the brain fog and we're like, that's not what I said. And then there's this big confusion where no one feels like they're understanding one another. And then you get so exhausted from the fighting, the arguing, the silent treatments, the shutting down. And then you just want to break up because you feel like, I'm exhausted. Like, I can't continue to do this. I can't live my life like this. Like, I don't see an end in sight. And so one of the things that we talked about in our last series, which was the attachment series, the last couple of episodes, were the anxious attachment style and the avoidant attachment style. So what I've done for you and what I'm going to continue to do to kind of help you out is I've developed an ebook that has all of the attachment styles within them and how they affect people when they're in PMDD, for the PMDD sufferer and the PMDD partner. So that is now on sale. You can go to my website, www.inlove.com, and you can grab that copy so that you can have something tangible to kind of look at and really talk to your partner and say, you know what, are you an anxious attacher? Are you, an avoidant attacher? And what can we do about it to get back to that secure attachment state? So as of right now, I only have one more spot left for my 2-month private PMDD coaching. I told you I can only take 10 clients, 10 couples at a time, and I am at my limit. But and hopefully by the time you're listening to this, the spot isn't gone. But what I want to tell you is, when you are going to seek help in your PMDD relationship, there may be times where you're going to practitioners, counselors, therapists, psychotherapists, and they don't know about PMDD. They don't know about PMDD because, number one, it's not in the literature. And if it is, it's not specifically talking about relationships, and it's not a pill that you can take to, I'm pretty sure we would all take one, but if there was a pill that you could take for PMDD relationships, I'm pretty sure you would want to do it, but it's not. It's a methodology, and it has to be done through someone who really has a deep understanding of what PMDD is. And unless you felt it, and I've talked one-on-one with all of my clients, and this always comes out during our sessions, unless the person has felt what it feels like to go through PMDD, then it's kind of hard to tell you what to do in those moments, because what works when you're not in PMDD is completely different from what works when you're in PMDD. So I have coaches, I have, counselors, I have all of these people in my toolbox that I know if I have an issue that I have going on when I'm not in PMDD, they can totally help me. So I'm not going against their practice. What I'm saying is that I don't want you to get so frustrated when you're going to look for help because the people that you're choosing don't really have PMDD. They don't know about it. So I would say make sure that you're working with specialized individuals who have actually felt what it's like to have PMDD. And I know how horrible it is. So it's almost like I don't want there to be a big community that has it, but it's almost like you have to have it in order to know what it feels like, in order to give me a cure for this specific symptom in this specific moment. So not saying a cure for PMDD, but like give me something to navigate this during PMDD. And unless you've had it, then it's really, really hard to give that tool to that individual. So I don't want you to get frustrated. If you know that you need help with your PMDD relationship, reach out to me. I'm not going to be doing the 2-month private PMDD coaching after this last spot is taken. But what I am going to be doing are quad sets. So basically what that is I'm going to be more like a triangular. So what I've found that's worked with my private clients right now and moving forward, which is continuously working, is I do one-on-ones with one partner that has PMDD, a session with the partner that doesn't have PMDD, and then we do one together and I combine the tools from both and I give them to both of the individuals so that they can move forward. That's a 3-session package, and that's something that I am willing to take on. If you just have those core issues and you're like, look, we've been spinning for the last couple of months, we're dealing with the same issue again and again and again, it may not take the whole 2 months. So I am open to that. So make sure you apply to work with me in that way on my website. So let's get into it. How to avoid blowing up, basically, at your partner when you're feeling those PMDD emotions, when you're hearing those intrusive thoughts and you really feel like, you know what, I can't even control the things that are coming out of my mouth because I don't mean to say them, but I end up saying them because of triggers that I have when I'm in PMDD. So the first thing I want you to do, and I know this is easier said than done, but it is avoid reacting automatically. So when you feel like your partner has said something and they've done something that's offended you, so there's normally an offense, a hurt that is behind the comment that you're making because you're trying to defend yourself and say, I'm not really that way, or you shouldn't look at me and think that I'm that way. And you immediately go to react to it. So we've all been there, and the conversation goes to ridiculous places where if they mention something like, hey, next time, can you do this? And then you start pointing out things that they haven't done. And then you go through this rabbit hole of blaming and shaming the other, person. And then afterwards, when things have calmed down and you realize that you're in this really negative space, you may think to yourself, like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I can't believe we just argued about something so small. And what happens is when we're in PMDD, they don't seem that small. It seems really important for us to get our point across. And I know a lot of this comes from this kind of us feeling like when we're in PMDD that we are not able to make valid points because we have this stamp on us that says you're in PMDD. So everything you say, it's not really useful. It doesn't really make sense. You may have the brain fog. So you feel like when you're in those disagreements, I have to get my point across. I have to say what I need to say. And you're kind of drilling it in on your partner, but you're not recognizing the damage that that's doing to your relationship, because a lot of times your partner is not even on the defense immediately. They're not really trying to fight back at you, but in your mind, you feel like you need to defend yourself. So you're going hard is what my partner calls it. Like, you went hard on me, which that means is I'm saying the same things. A lot of times I'll repeat myself because I'm trying to drill it into him. This is what I mean. This is why I'm trying to say this. And I mean this because of this. And then I start bringing up the past. And when you get yourself in that rabbit hole, you're not feeling better, because at that point, it's not so much about proving things to your partner so much. It's almost about proving things to yourself. Like, I need to make this point in order to feel like I'm somewhat normal, in order to feel like I'm not completely damaged and disorientated, discombobulated because I'm in PMDD. So I need to make sense of this. So sometimes repeating yourself and yelling and screaming and doing all of these things is your way of trying to validate your feelings, validate your thoughts, and saying, you know what, I really do feel like this. I really do think this. And you're trying to get your partner to really understand that. And them on the other side, even if they're waving the white flag, like, I get it, I hear you, okay, you're right. Like, almost sometimes that's not even good enough, because then you're like, oh, you're just saying that because you don't want to argue, or you're trying to push them to argue with you because you don't want to be in it by yourself and you feel like you're strong enough to handle it. And it's really what it does when you're in PMDD. It's exhausting. It's causing you stress. And everybody knows that when we're in stress, when our body's in stress, that it's literally causing our symptoms to be that much worse. So when we're thinking that we're putting the damage towards our partner because we're trying to make sure that they know, make sure that they understand, we're really doing damage to ourselves. We're getting into that place where our emotions are not regulated. We're hurting ourselves by trying to hurt our partner, by trying to prove our point. And so what I want you to do is, when you feel that urge to prove your point, to say what you got to say, to do what it is that you think you need to do, to not let that last comment slide, I want you to pump the brakes and avoid reacting automatically. Give your mind a chance to calm itself down, to understand, okay, what was the comment that the person really said? Like, a lot of times what has helped to diffuse the situations with me and with what I've told my private clients is that ask them, what is it that you really meant by that? Right? So if a comment is said, instead of going straight off of your reaction into how you want to react in the moment before you even know how they really feel, say, that really hurt me when you said that. Are you trying to say that I don't have credibility in this area? Are you trying to say I don't know what I'm talking about? Are you trying to say that I'm not capable? So what you're doing is, before you put on those boxing gloves and get in the ring, you're getting clear on whether this is even a fight that's worth fighting. Is your partner even trying to argue with you? Are they even trying to fight with you? Because a lot of times they're not, but we feel like they are. So we're like, oh, I need to defend myself. And that's when the PMDD rage comes. And so asking that question can give you clarity. And your partner can begin to say, no, babe, that's not what I meant by that. I meant this. And then you may calm down instinctively because you're like, oh, well, I thought you meant this. And then they're like, no, no, no. And they may not understand why you took it to that point that you did. And it's completely valid that you did, because, interpretation is everything. How we interpret the comments, the actions, the non-actions that our partners do is everything, because it's going to lead our emotions. It's going to lead our thoughts. So if you get to a point where you're just like, oh, I thought you meant this, and they say no, be willing to take the gloves off. This is not a time for you to try to find something to argue about, because you've already created the moment. And I know what that feels like. It's like when you catch yourself in the middle of it, you're already, kind of arguing. So you're like, oh, well, what about this? You kind of bring up something in the past that has nothing to do with the moment, instead of just taking the gloves off and kind of backing down a little bit. And the next thing I want to tell you to do, and I use this all the time, is you're kind of going to develop some canned cookie cutter responses to controversial subjects that you have within your relationship. So if you know that you already have trust issues going on in your relationship, if you already know that you have issues with your finances, if you already know you have issues with the children and raising them, these cookie cutter comments that you can say is going to stop you from raging out and getting straight into that PMDD rage, going to stop you from going off and saying things and doing things that you don't really mean. And one of them that I use is, I prefer to discuss something other than blank today. So if your partner's trying to bring up finances and you know that you're not in a place, you just know, like, you know that you're already on edge, you know that you're overwhelmed, you know that you're stressing out about a whole bunch of things. You're trying to get everything done because you're in PMDD and everything seems so overwhelming. And your partner's like, well, what about this budget? Like, we need to talk about this, or who made this charge on the credit card or something like that. You can literally say, to stop you from getting into that rage, because you already kind of feel like, you know what, this is too much. Like, I can't. You can say, I would prefer not to discuss finances today. Like, can we not talk about finances today? Or can we not talk about the kids today? Or can we not talk about that past, disagreement, that trust issue? Because it takes two. And I know that a lot of times, with me and with my private clients, if you are in the mood, if you're feeling like, I need to discuss this, and your partner's kind of like, no, I'm good, like, I don't even want to talk about it right now, it can fuel your flame. Basically, it can make you even more angry because they're not giving you the reaction that you need. They're not engaging with you. They're making you feel like you're alone in this. And I want to let you know, all the pushing and pushing and pushing to get them to respond in a way that makes you feel like you're not alone, that's about you and not about them. So meaning, when you bring them into these disagreements, when you bring your partners into these disagreements and they're literally telling you, like, I can't deal with this right now, you're asking for it. Like, you are asking for a negative response from your partner. And in your mind, you may be thinking, all I wanted to do was talk about this. But if your partner is setting up some boundaries and saying, I'm just not in the right headspace to talk about that right now, and you're continuously pushing them, whatever they do after that, you're going to have to take responsibility for that as well. So often you can kind of think, when your partner reacts to a lot of things, you're like, I can't believe they did this. I can't believe they said this. I can't believe, and you're talking about all of these below the belt things that they've done, but you're neglecting to mention what you did to provoke them. Do not provoke your PMDD partner when they clearly set boundaries that they're not ready, because the reaction that they give you is not going to be something that you're going to want to receive. And it may not be something that you can handle. Right? Have you ever kind of tried to get your partner to talk about something, and then when they finally did, they kind of blew up at you, and then they started talking to you crazy and calling you names and saying different things that are disrespectful and cursing and all of these things that are further triggering you. And you're like, oh my goodness, you're crazy. I can't believe that you're doing this and this and this. But it's kind of like, they may have tried to tell you, I'm not in a good space right now. I'm not in a good space to talk about this, to deal with this. You need to listen to what it is that your partner is saying. When they're telling you they're not ready, respect that. You need to be able to have something that you can go do to self-soothe and regulate your emotions without involving your partner when they clearly said that they can't handle it in the moment, because the reaction that you're going to get is going to cause further damage to your relationship. And what it means is that when it's causing further damage to your relationship, then they're going to start associating you with that ugly side of them. If you have felt like a lot of times when you've argued, when you've disagreed, there's this ugly PMDD side of you that comes out, this PMDD rage, and like it's a whole other person. A lot of times the clients that I've had that have wanted to break up, it's because they say they bring the worst out of me. I don't feel like myself in this relationship. It's because somebody has crossed a boundary that has allowed it to get to that point. it's because someone decided to overstep, whether it's you or whether it's your partner. For example, if you're in PMDD and you're kind of telling your partner, I can't deal with this right now, and they're continuously trying to, get through, like, I just need to talk about this. I just need to get this out. I just need to say this one other thing. And then all of a sudden you go off in a PMDD rage, you're going to begin to associate your partner with your PMDD rage and say, you know what, in order to get peace in my relationship, I need to not be in this relationship. I need to be single because I want peace. I want the peaceful me. And you kind of think that if I was single, then I would never get into PMDD rage. But I want to tell you that's not true. So as I've said before, I took 2 years off of being in a relationship prior to meeting my partner because I was going through breakup after breakup. And I was like, you know what? I need to figure this out. And even during those 2 years that I was single, I felt PMDD rage. PMDD rage did not go away because I was single. It was just I didn't have anyone immediately to lash out at. I didn't have someone that was right there in order to trigger me and to get those reactions. But I felt PMDD rage with little things with my friend, like the people that was closest to me at the time. My best friend would like say certain things and I would be like, what the heck did she mean? What did she say? Like, what was that tone? Like, little things that I would just take offense to. And I felt myself, I could have gotten into PMDD rage. And I want to bring this up because I know this is true for me. But when you feel the PMDD rage, there are circumstances that happen in your life where you don't react to it. For example, you may be at work and your boss may say something, and you may have that same instinctive thought in your mind that you have with your partner. And you're like, what did they say to me? Or, or a coworker, like, what did they say to me? And you don't go off on them. And if you have, it's very few and far in between. It's not a natural occurrence that you're going around lashing out at your coworkers, lashing out at your boss because they've said something that you didn't like while you're in PMDD. And now you have this PMDD rage. You've been able to control it for the most part. I'm not saying that there haven't been certain circumstances where you can recall, like, yeah, I did lash out, I did do this. But for the most part, you're able to control it at work. But when it comes to being at home, you can't control it. All of a sudden, there's no filter there. There's no pulling back on the reins. It's like, oh, they're going to get whatever I give them, and that's it. And I want you to understand that your partner is supposed to be the most precious person in your life, in your corner. A lot of you think that you don't have a supportive partner and you don't have like a true support system in this, but I want you to be mindful of how you are treating your partner. How are you catering to them when you're in PMDD? Are you doing the basics of what it is that they need? Are you considering them, or are you just expecting them to be there while you suffer and just give them nothing? If you're giving your partner nothing, then it's weird to expect them to give you everything. And so I want to let you know you have to do the bare minimum. And the bare minimum for your partner in PMDD looks different for every couple. I told you for me, my bare minimum, and when I say bare minimum, it's not like bottom of the barrel, but what it means is I'm never again, I'm going to say this with integrity, I'm never again going to give my partner nothing during PMDD. I used to think that that's fine. It's fine for me to give my partner nothing because I'm suffering. So I kind of get a free pass. I shouldn't have to. He should just understand he's a grown adult. He should understand how to take care of himself during PMDD because I'm the one suffering. That's the wrong answer. I'm still in a relationship. I still feed my children. I still walk my dog. I still do the bare minimum I still go to work. I still do the bare minimum for everybody else in my life. Why would I not do that, if not more, for my partner? Why does your partner go last when you're in PMDD? Just because you're suffering, when you place other people and things above them in a way that you can kind of control your reactions towards them. Like you wouldn't really go off on your friend because kind of like, I know the reasons why I didn't go off on my best friend a lot of times when I felt the PMDD. I almost thought if I go off on her and I say these things that I'm thinking, then she's not going to be my friend anymore. Then I'm going to feel like I'm alone. I'm going to feel like I don't have anyone. So I need to just like hone it in and just like hold it in a little bit until the feeling passes. And so that's exactly what I do, have done, still do when I feel it. And now I'm practicing that with my partner as well. All I'm doing is extending my partner the same courtesy that I extend to my workplace, that I extend to my friendships, my family, my sisters, like my daughter, my dog. Like every time that I stop myself from going off on other people, it takes effort. So why not give that same effort to my partner if I want to stop the arguing, if I want to stop the damage that it does when I go off, because I don't feel good. And I don't think you do either. I don't think you feel good after you've gone off on your partner. Yeah, you may get your point out. Yeah, you may say all the things that you needed to say, but do you really feel good about what you're doing to your partner? The pain that you are inflicting on your partner, that is something that you are going to have to live with. And what's happened with the one past client that I will never forget, and kind of it's like my little compass in all that I do, is that the PMDD sufferer continue to go hard and say these things and do these things during PMDD rage, and the partner was just taking it and taking it and taking it, kind of like you see that boxer in the ring where they're tired, but they're still taking every punch. They're taking the left, they're taking the right, they're getting bloody, they're getting disgusting, but they're still like trying to stand up and stay in the fight, which is a lot of times what your partner's trying to do. You're going off on them and you're saying all these things and they're trying to stay in it with you. They may not even be fighting back at this point. They may just be like, okay, babe, okay. And you're still like, no, but you need to understand. And this is not good enough. And and you're going on and on and on. And then you know what happens in the boxing matches? The other person falls down. You fight them so much that they fall down. And then it's like, ding, ding, ding. Oh, you won the fight. You won the fight, but now your partner's on the ground. And what happened in this relationship, and I was coaching them and I kept saying, you have to be considerate of your partner's feelings. He's taking a lot, like he's trying his best. Stop bringing up things that he didn't do from the past. Like just try to listen. And every, session, it was like, no, but this and this, and this is not with my current PMDD clients. This is with the last clients that I had a couple of months ago. But what happened is he had enough. And then one day I got a call and an email saying, we don't need to continue sessions anymore because I'm done. It's over. I'm out. And I did have a final session with the PMDD sufferer, and the pain that I saw, the tears that I saw, the regret that I saw, the begging, what can I do? What can I do? And it was too late because I said what to do, but it wasn't so I can only give you the tools. I tell this to all my clients. I can't go into your home and force you to use the tools that I'm giving you. I can tell you these are the things that you need to do in order to save your PMDD relationship. I know how you're feeling in PMDD. This has worked for me. You need to do this. If you choose to not do those things, it's not going to work. So in this circumstance, she had the tools, but she didn't use them in the moments that mattered the most, which is when they were in home, when it was just the two of them, and he left, and they've not been back together. And I still get emails from her. She still listens to the podcast. So if you're listening, because it's not something that you just can get over that easily. Living with that amount of guilt is that you have to heal from that. You have to forgive yourself from that. You have to really repair yourself from that. And it's a hard, lonely, long process, because if you think about you having a partner that you have while you're in PMDD and you've gone through whatever you've gone through with them over the years, and then you're trying to navigate PMDD and they're having a hard time with it. Imagine going to start a new relationship with someone and they don't love you yet. They may like you, they obviously like you. You guys are getting along, but you still have to control yourself in a manner that says, I'm presentable. I'm a person that is capable of being in an intimate relationship. I have this disorder, but I am capable of being in an intimate relationship. If that is not something that you can say, you are going to bulldoze your partner. You're going to ruin them. Absolutely ruin them. So if you have PMDD and you haven't figured out how to manage it and cope with your own symptoms, that you have specifically PMDD rage, you are going to bulldoze your partner and they're going to be lying on the ground. Like I told you about that person in the ring. They're going to be lying there bloody, sweaty, exhausted, damaged for any other future relationships. And the thing is, when you come out of PMDD, you love your partner, you care about your partner, you feel what they feel, you're connected to them. And so that's going to be hard to look at. That is going to be hard to look at someone that you love so much and you're trying to get them to be back in that loving place with you and they don't even have the energy to do it. That's the hardest thing for me. I know personally with all the damage that I've done in previous relationships, it's been when I get out of PMDD and I'm like, come on, let's go. Like, let's do this. And they are completely depleted. Like, I have nothing for you. Like, I can't. And you remember how they used to be. You remember how lively they used to be, how in love they used to be, and how connected you all used to be. And you see, it's literally like the life is sucked out of them from being that way. And now you're trying to get them to go back to being that way. And it's going to be a constant fight of them kind of like climbing up a hill. I'm trying to get back where I used to be. I'm trying to get back to that loving partner. But man, I just went through a lot. Like, I don't see you the same. I don't see our relationship the same. I don't see our future the same. I'm trying to get there, but like, think of every blow that you're giving to your partner during PMDD through these arguments. It's just like they're getting weaker and weaker and weaker. And one day, if you keep pounding on them, and when I say pounding on them, I mean with below the belt comments, with bringing up the past, with holding things over their head, with telling them that they're doing everything wrong, they're going to just be like, okay, you know what? If I'm so bad, if I'm so wrong, you're absolutely right. I'm out. And then you're going to have no one to fight with. You're going to have no one to fight with. You're going to have no one to fight for. And you're going to feel horrible about it because I've been there. I've been there and I felt completely disgusted with myself over things that I've said and done in my PMDD relationships. And I felt like, I guess I'll just end up alone because who is going to be able to handle this? Who is going to be able to deal with this? So this is why I'm giving you these tools to use. And I'm giving you a disclaimer. Do not take these tools lightly. Do not even take them as like an option. Like, maybe I'll do one or two of the. No, you need to do them because you need to save your relationship. It's not an option anymore. If you love your partner, you need to like literally check yourself and be like, I need to make sure, what did she say? This is why I'm creating the ebooks for you so that you can refer to them. So if you're driving or you're multitasking, you're doing other things, that you're not having to kind of like recall what it is that I'm saying. I'm giving you, go invest in the ebooks that I'm giving you after these episodes so that you can have detailed a list. Okay, this is what I need to do. This is why I need to do this. So the next thing I want you to do is to use some kind of diversion to avoid emotionally loaded topics. If someone says like, hey, like your partner is telling you, hey, I want to talk about this topic that you already know is an issue, like in your mind, you can think about, okay, this is never ended well when we talked about this and we're in PMDD. Have a diversion. Talk about something different. If you're in person and this works, absolutely works. Hold their hand, physical touch. And go watch a movie, go do something fun. Don't try to talk about that heavy topic because they're trying to talk about it, and just say, I just need you to be here with me right now. Like, let's just do something, light and fun, because that's all I can handle right now. Your partner's never going to turn down physical affection and attention and love unless they're genuinely hurting. And if they're hurting, then you need to have sessions with me to deal with that. I don't suggest you try to do it on your own, because you may do further damage by triggering them in different ways and trying to push them into the place that they're not ready to be. And if you feel like, the next thing is, if you feel like you absolutely cannot hold in anything that, you're feeling in the moment, you need to make an exit. If you know that you're about to lash out in PMDD rage, immediately exit. You can excuse yourself by saying, oh, I need to just take a walk. I need to do whatever. Don't try to sit in that moment, in that living room, in that kitchen, in that space, and think that the thoughts are just going to go away, because you're just going to keep ruminating and thinking about them again and again and again. You're going to have to remove yourself from the situation. And by removing yourself, you're going to give yourself a time to self-soothe and to calm down from that PMDD rage that you're feeling. And I know that it's easier said than done. This is not like, oh, it's just easy to just calm down when you're in PMDD rage, because every thought that you're thinking feels real in the moment. Every feeling that you're feeling feels real in the moment. So you just have to remove yourself. Give yourself a timeout. Put yourself in timeout. Because if you exhaust yourself, your symptoms are going to be worse. You're going to be doing damage to your PMDD relationship. And it's not going to be something that you may be able to recover from. And then it could take days and days and days and days to recover from that. So make sure that you are remembering these tips the next time you feel that you are about to lash out in PMDD rage. Use these steps to be able to get yourself out of the mode of continuously causing damage to your PMDD relationship, and get to the point where you're ready to say, you know what, I'm going to stop doing damage to my PMDD relationship. This is obviously causing damage, and me getting my point across is not bigger than saving my PMDD relationship. That should be something that you should have in your mind. Is this argument important enough to ruin my relationship? Is me getting my point across important enough to ruin my relationship? If it's not worth it, then hold it in. Don't do it. And when I say hold it in and go do something else. Don't just sit there and let it keep building up. Go do something else that makes you feel good. Go have a dance party. Go do something light. Go talk to a friend. Go on a drive. Blast your music. Go on a workout. Go on a run. Do something. If it's the middle of the night and you're still thinking about it, put your headphones on. Go look at funny videos. Go look at a meme. Go look at something that's going to take your mind off of it and get you out of that rage state. But you need to be able to have tools that you're using to self-soothe yourself and not expecting your partner to calm you down. This is something that you have to take responsibility for. No, it's not fair that we have PMDD, but yes, it is our responsibility to manage our PMDD. It is not fair that we have PMDD, but it is our responsibility to manage our PMDD and to not take it out on our partner and to not do damage in our relationship, so that you can have the partner and the relationship that you desire and deserve. You got this. I hope these PMDD trauma transformational tools help you and your PMDD partner. I am so excited to announce that I have 2 brand new PMDD relationship tools just for you. The first is my ebook called Attachment Styles and PMDD Relationship. This is talking all about how to navigate the avoidant and anxious style partners in PMDD. The next PMDD relationship tool is entitled How to Disagree Respectfully with PMDD. This ebook is a guide to stop letting fights during PMDD ruin your relationship. Go to my website, www.inlovewithpmdd.com, and grab your copies so that you can begin using these tools to repair the damage done in your PMDD relationship and to start understanding how to better navigate your relationship with PMDD so that you can stop the monthly breakups and stress and finally have the supportive relationship that you desire and deserve. It's time to start actively working on your PMDD relationship. Remember, love is not just a feeling, it's an action. And I know your PMDD relationship is worth not only saving, but working on so you both can finally be at peace in your relationship during PMDD. If you found this podcast helpful, please share this episode with other PMDD partners, comment, and leave me a 5-star written review to help other PMDD partners find our show with these tools and support. For everything that as PMDD partners go through, we should not have to do this alone. Until next time, remember you can have the relationship that you desire and deserve while having PMDD. We got this.